Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, well, have you guys seen the Veterans Against the Deal, any of our ads out there? We got Veterans Against the Deal. We are basically former intelligence officers from the CIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, the National Security Agency. We also represent veterans going back 36 years. We represent the voices that President Obama tried to squash at his American University speech, where he said, if you're against this deal, you're either a warmonger, you're an ideologue, or you're illogical. Well, we heard that and we said, well, you know, the military, we're the last people that want to go out and fight wars. We're trained to prevent wars and we're trained to win wars. We don't sit around thinking about how we can get into one. So we went ahead and we put this organization together. And we have officers going back 36 years, soldiers, NCOs, and officers who know this enemy very well. And when we started looking at the Iran deal, we started seeing there were some key individuals that were being delisted. And delisted means taken off sanctions, means being rewarded. So we started putting together this group. And we got Staff Sergeant Bartlett. Staff Sergeant Robert Bartlett joined the military at the age of 30 after 9/11. Knowing he was going to go into a combat zone. Sergeant Bartlett his vehicle was hit by an Iranian explosively formed penetrator. It's a weapon the Iranians introduced to their Shia militia proxies in Iraq that was designed to defeat our upgraded armor vehicles called the MRAPs. Basically, after Al-Qaeda had basically blown us up with IEDs, we introduced up-armored Humvees and up-armored combat systems, and the Iranians said, we have a weapon that can hurt Americans. It's called the explosively formed penetrator. The very same individuals that introduced that weapon are responsible for the death of over 500 Americans and the maiming of thousands, somehow made it onto this Iranian nuclear deal. Makes no sense. They were last-minute concessions by our negotiating team. The reports we're hearing out of Washington, D.C. is at the end of this thing, there was such a push to make this thing happen that the Iranians could bring a list of 20 individuals, give it to our negotiators, and they would say, sure, no problem, we'll take it. Veterans Against the Deal know who these individuals are. They're responsible for the deaths of Americans going back all the way to the Beirut bombing. They're the individual in charge of putting down the Green Revolution in Tehran in 2009, the besieged commander. I don't know if any of you remember the Green Revolution of 2009, but the U.S. sat on its hands, and the Iranians noticed. And the man responsible for putting down this democratic movement somehow found his way onto the Iran deal, and his sanctions have been removed as well. He's the man who ordered Democratic opposition candidates be arrested, and also responsible for ordering his besieged militants to shoot protesters. Do you remember the woman wearing the green shirt when she was shot in the chest? That man somehow came off sanctions. So what we're looking at the non-nuclear concessions made in the Iran deal, and we have secured meetings with key Democrat senators to include Senator Manchin out of West Virginia, Senator Bennett out of Colorado, Senator Cardin out of Maryland, and we're looking at other senators to actually go in and give them a brief. First off, this deal does nothing to keep Iran away from a bomb. If they don't cheat, they get a bomb in 15 years. What that means is my daughter, when she graduates high school, Iran will have a nuclear weapon. We find that unacceptable. What it also means, in 5 years, Iran will have advanced weapons in the Middle East capable of shooting down U.S. aircraft and also Israeli aircraft. What it means in 8 years is Iran will have the capability to deliver a peaceful weapon on top of an intercontinental ballistic missile. We don't think any of that makes sense. So we've got a really good brief, former intel guys, former military guys over the last 36 years that we'll present to these Democrat senators. And our goal, even if you come out for this thing, you haven't voted yet, and we think our voice needs to be weighed. The voice of veterans going back 36 years needs to be weighed higher than an administration leaving office in 17 months. We have that voice, we have the facts. Our campaign is a fact-based campaign. We can say things like, Iran has, Iran is, and Iran will. Supporters of this deal say Iran may, Iran could, Iran should, and we hope. Hope is not a method. That's a military term. This campaign is not a hope is not a method to campaign. This is a fact-based campaign. So we intend to go in with a list of individuals that I think even supporters of the Iran deal can say these guys should not have been delisted. Sanctions should not have been taken off of these individuals, should not have been taken off of these institutions. We basically, I don't know if you know this either, if you look at the Iran deal, all of the shipping companies that were facilitating weapons transfers to Hezbollah have somehow found their way onto the Iran deal and been delisted. No longer sanctions on those things. There are so many concessions here that we think we can give Democrats a principled no vote on the Iran deal by simply going back to the president and saying, Mr. President, I cannot vote for this deal as long as these 10 to 15 guys are on this deal. Now I know a lot of you want us to focus on the nuclear issue. We are. We're focusing on the nuclear issue, but what we know about this country, that if the president takes off any of these individuals or institutions, Iran will consider it a breach, and Iran will kill the deal. That's our strategy. Give Democrats a principled no vote by taking to President a list of options that we'll vote for this if you take these guys off, knowing that any of those individuals, we present them, if they come off, like Qasem Soleimani, responsible for the death of 500 Americans and the maiming of thousands, like the Basij commander, responsible for putting down the Green Revolution. And more importantly, if Iran's seeking a peaceful nuclear program, why did 13 of its top generals responsible for its illicit nuclear program, why did they come off sanctions? That's what we're focused on. And thanks for your time. We're going to keep the fight going for a while. Thank you.